The human student walked into the alien classroom, his small frame almost disappearing between the towering figures of his classmates. Every pair of alien eyes turned toward him, filled with curiosity, confusion, and a hint of mockery. They whispered among themselves, pointing and laughing at how soft and fragile he looked. "This human thinks he can survive here." One alien snickered, showing sharp teeth. Another added, "He will break on the first challenge, just watch." The human did not answer, he only held his head high and walked to his seat quietly. His hands were calm, his eyes steady, but inside, he felt the weight of every mocking glance. He remembered what his teachers on Earth had told him: kindness is strength, even if the world sees it as weakness. The alien students, however, had no such wisdom. They had grown up in a world where strength meant showing power and fear, not mercy. A giant alien with blue scales and glowing red eyes leaned back in his chair and laughed. "You humans are so soft," he said, shaking his head. "I cannot imagine anyone surviving even a day in real challenges." The human smiled faintly but did not respond. He knew that words would not convince them, only actions could. The teacher, an old alien with many tentacles and a calm voice, entered the room. "Settle down, students," the teacher said. "Today we have a special challenge, one that will test courage, wisdom, and control." The alien's whispers stopped, replaced by nervous excitement. The human's heart beat steadily, he felt a strange calm inside. He was ready for what was coming, though none of the others could understand why. The alien classmates began to arrange themselves for the upcoming task. They carried strange tools and devices, designed to measure strength and reaction speed. The human carried nothing, only a small satchel with basic supplies. His classmates laughed again, noticing how unarmed he was. "Look at him," one alien sneered. "He thinks he can face a real challenge with empty hands." The human did not care, he remembered his training. Observing, understanding, and patience were his strongest tools. He quietly watched the other students, noting their fear and aggression. Some of them were already arguing and showing off, trying to prove who was the strongest. The human smiled quietly to himself, knowing that strength often hides behind calmness. The bell rang, signaling the beginning of the test. A large door at the end of the classroom opened slowly, revealing the challenge. A deep growl echoed from the room, a sound so powerful that some aliens stepped back in fear. The students gasped, realizing that what awaited them was not ordinary. The human, however, stepped forward calmly, his eyes scanning the room. He noticed a small wound on the creature that the others had not seen, a detail that could change everything. The alien students whispered frantically among themselves. They said, "He is soft, but can he even survive this?" The human ignored them, focusing on the challenge. His mind worked faster than the eyes could see, analyzing every movement, every sound. The classroom was tense, the air thick with fear and anticipation. The human's calmness stood out like a quiet flame in the storm of chaos. As the creature shifted and growled again, the alien students laughed nervously. They did not understand that the human's kindness was not weakness. It was a different kind of strength, one that could calm monsters and solve problems without violence. The human took a deep breath, ready to face the challenge that would shock the entire class. And in that moment, no one laughed anymore, not fully, because the real test was about to begin. The large door at the end of the classroom creaked open slowly. A shadow moved inside, stretching across the floor like a living mountain. The alien students froze, their laughter gone, replaced by sharp gasps of fear. The human stepped forward calmly, his eyes fixed on the creature, observing every detail. The beast was massive, covered in thick dark fur, with claws longer than some of the students' arms. Its glowing eyes scanned the room, wild and furious. The air vibrated with its low growl, making the walls tremble. Some students took a step back, whispering urgently to each other. This is too dangerous," one said. "We cannot face it, even together," another added. The human did not flinch, he only noticed something others ignored. A small paw was bleeding, a deep cut running across the beast's leg. He saw pain hidden under its fury, a weakness disguised by anger. The teacher spoke calmly, his many tentacles folded behind him. "This is the test, students," he said. "You must approach the beast and complete the task, or leave the room at your own risk." The aliens looked at each other nervously. Many began sharpening their claws and preparing weapons. They wanted to prove strength by attacking first, dominating the creature. The human only adjusted his satchel, ready to use nothing but his mind and hands. The beast roared suddenly, shaking the ground with its mighty voice. Some students screamed and jumped back, falling over each other. The human stayed still, breathing slowly, his calmness cutting through the chaos. He stepped forward, quietly, careful not to make sudden movements. The creature snarled and swung its massive paw, but it did not aim at him. It seemed to sense his difference, the lack of fear in his presence. The alien students stared, their mouths open in shock. "Look at him," one whispered. "He is walking right toward it, unarmed." Another added, "He is going to die, I can't believe it." The human ignored the whispers, focusing entirely on the wounded paw. He knelt down carefully, just close enough to touch the injury. The beast growled low, trembling, unsure of what this human was doing. Some students gasped as the human pulled out a small bandage from his satchel. He cleaned the wound gently, his movements slow and deliberate. The alien students' fear mixed with confusion. "Why is he helping it?" one asked. "Monsters are not healed, they are controlled," another shouted. The human did not respond, he only wrapped the bandage carefully, pressing lightly. The creature's growls became softer, its body trembling less. It sniffed the human's hands, hesitated, and then surprisingly stayed still. The classroom was silent except for the faint sound of the beast's breathing. Even the teacher's tentacles froze, observing the unusual interaction. The alien students could not believe what they saw. The human's calm and kindness was working, something no brute force could have achieved. Whispers ran through the room, full of shock and disbelief. He is controlling it without weapons," one said, barely daring to speak. The human's eyes met the creature's glowing gaze. A quiet connection formed, unspoken but strong. The students began to understand something important. This human, who was mocked for being soft, had a strength they had never seen. Not through fighting, but through patience, observation, and compassion. The beast's anger slowly faded, replaced by trust and curiosity. And in that moment, the classroom realized the challenge was not just to face a monster. It was to understand what true strength really meant. The human knelt closer to the beast, his hands steady and calm. Every alien in the room held their breath, unsure if he would survive. The creature's eyes glowed brightly, filled with both pain and fury. It lifted its massive paw, testing the human. The students gasped, stepping back, some gripping weapons. "This is impossible," one whispered. "No one can approach it alive," another said. But the human moved carefully, watching the beast's every movement. He noticed small signs of discomfort, subtle twitches, uneven breathing. He understood what the others had missed. The creature was not attacking because it hated. It was attacking because it hurt, and it feared more pain. The human reached out slowly, his hand gentle. He touched the beast's paw lightly, feeling the warmth and tension. The classroom was so quiet, even a whisper would have sounded loud. He spoke softly, in his own language, calm and quiet. The alien students did not understand the words, but they understood the intent. The beast paused, its growl lowering, its massive body stilling. The human's hands worked with care, wrapping the injured paw securely. Every movement was slow, careful, confident. The other students' jaws dropped as they watched. They had expected a fight, not this gentle courage. The beast sniffed the human's hands, then nudged them slightly. It did not attack, it did not move away, it simply waited. The human leaned forward, placing his hands near the creature's head. He avoided sudden gestures, showing respect and understanding. A low rumble of acceptance escaped the beast's throat. Some of the alien students gasped audibly. It is letting him touch it," one stammered. "How is this possible?" another whispered, eyes wide. The human smiled faintly, calm and patient. He knew fear or aggression would only make the situation worse. His quiet approach had turned the beast's anger into trust. The other students began to realize the truth. Strength was not always in power, not always in claws or weapons. Sometimes it was in patience, courage, and kindness. The creature's massive body relaxed slowly. Its glowing eyes softened, and it lowered its head slightly. The human gently patted the beast's shoulder. The room was silent except for the soft sound of the creature's breathing. The alien students stared in shock, some whispering in disbelief. How did he do that?" one asked. "He didn't fight it," another replied. "He calmed it, with kindness." The teacher nodded slowly, tentacles moving slightly in approval. "This is what true strength looks like," he said. The human's calm action had not only healed the beast. It had shown the entire class a lesson they would never forget. Some aliens looked ashamed of their earlier mockery. They realized they had judged him too quickly. The human had done what no one else could. He had faced the monster without fear, without weapons, and without force. The beast now stood quietly beside the human, its eyes following him calmly, waiting for his next move. The alien students could barely believe what they saw. Whispers ran through the classroom, mixed with awe and respect. The human's gentle strength had won over not just the beast, but the attention and admiration of everyone in the room. And in that moment, the lesson was clear to all. Sometimes the softest hands can hold the greatest power. The classroom was silent, the air thick with disbelief and awe. The alien students could not believe what they had just witnessed. The human stood beside the beast calmly, his hands still gentle. The massive creature now rested quietly, its fierce energy replaced with trust. Some students whispered, some stared, some could not even speak. They had expected fear, chaos, and fighting. Instead, they had seen control without violence, strength without aggression. One of the larger alien students stepped forward slowly. His claws shook slightly as he spoke. I was wrong," he admitted, his voice low. The human only nodded, understanding the meaning without words. Others began to murmur apologies, though their pride made it hard to speak. They had mocked him, laughed at him, and now they realized their mistake. The teacher moved closer, tentacles folding carefully. "This human has shown a lesson you all must remember," he said. "True strength comes from courage, understanding, and patience." The alien students nodded slowly, absorbing every word. Some still looked skeptical, but no one could deny what they had seen. The human's actions had changed their perspective, at least for this moment. The beast shifted slightly, resting its massive head on the floor. It lifted its eyes toward the human, soft and calm. The classroom held its breath again. No one had ever seen a human interact with such a dangerous creature without fear. Some students glanced at each other nervously. They realized that their strength alone could not have achieved this. The human had something different, something unexpected. One of the smaller aliens finally spoke, voice trembling. How did he do that?" Another replied, "He didn't fight it, he just helped it." The human looked around the classroom quietly, his calm gaze steady. He did not need to explain, his actions spoke louder than words. The students began to understand the lesson slowly sinking in. Power could come in many forms, and sometimes the quietest one was the strongest. The teacher raised a tentacle to get everyone's attention. "Observe carefully," he said. "Today you have learned that wisdom can be stronger than force. Compassion can be more powerful than aggression. This is the way humans survive, not by brute strength, but by understanding." The students nodded, some reluctantly, some eagerly. The human's actions had broken the old ideas of the academy. They had laughed at him at first, but now they were silent in respect. The beast lowered its paw completely, showing no threat. It stayed calm, following the human's subtle movements. Some aliens reached forward slowly, curious but cautious. The human did not push them, he let the moment settle naturally. His quiet presence calmed the classroom more than any words could. The aliens began to whisper among themselves, discussing what they had learned. A few even looked ashamed for their earlier mockery. The human's soft courage had left a permanent mark on their minds. As the class watched, the human stood tall, his small frame suddenly seeming larger. Not because of muscle or weapons, but because of the strength of his character. The alien students now understood that they had judged him too quickly. Some looked inspired, some thoughtful, some humbled. And for the first time, the human did not feel small in their eyes. He had faced the impossible, and the impossible had bent to his quiet will. The classrooms all continued, the tension slowly dissolving. The human's calm strength had won not only the beast's trust, but the attention and admiration of the entire class. And in that moment, the lesson was clear to all. Sometimes the softest heart can make the loudest impact. The classroom remained quiet, the tension slowly fading. The alien students looked at the human with new eyes. Some still whispered, but now their words carried respect instead of mockery. The human stood calmly beside the beast, his actions complete. He did not boast, he did not speak loudly. His quiet courage had done all the talking. A few of the larger aliens stepped forward, heads bowed slightly. We were wrong," one said quietly. "You faced the beast with nothing but your hands and your mind. And yet you succeeded where we would have failed," another admitted. The human nodded gently, accepting their words. He knew their pride would take time to fully change. But this small acknowledgement was enough for now. The teacher moved closer, his tentacles folding with approval. "You have shown what humans are capable of," he said. "Your strength is not in weapons, not in force. It is in courage, compassion, and intelligence. This is a lesson that all of you must remember." The students nodded, some eagerly, some reluctantly. The human's actions had changed the classroom forever. The beast shifted again, lowering its massive head to the floor. It looked at the human with calm, almost gentle eyes. The other students watched carefully, seeing the bond formed between them. It was a bond of trust and respect, earned through quiet bravery. Some aliens whispered in disbelief. "I cannot believe it. He didn't even touch it roughly. And yet it obeys him completely." The human smiled faintly, understanding the depth of what he had accomplished. Several students approached slowly, unsure but curious. Can we try to approach like you?" one asked nervously. The human shook his head gently. "This is not about copying," he said softly. "It is about understanding, patience, and noticing what others miss." The aliens listened carefully, some nodding, some still hesitant. The lesson was sinking in, slowly but surely. Strength could take many forms, and kindness was one of the strongest. The teacher raised a tentacle, calling the class to attention. "Observe and remember," he said. "This human has shown that power is not always in force. Compassion can calm monsters. Courage can shine quietly. Wisdom is more important than aggression." The students listened, some quietly ashamed of their earlier laughter. Some filled with admiration and curiosity. The human had earned their respect without a single battle. The beast stayed calm, watching the human closely. It seemed to recognize him as a leader in a way the aliens could not yet understand. The human slowly stood, stepping back from the creature. He did not boast, he did not demand recognition. His quiet confidence alone left a lasting impression. The alien students whispered among themselves. "This human, he is different," one said softly. "Yes, different, but strong in a way we cannot measure," another replied. The teacher nodded once more, satisfied. "You have all learned something important today," he said. "Do not underestimate those who seem soft. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from understanding and patience. The human has proven this in front of all of you." The students slowly absorbed the lesson. Some apologized quietly to the human, some only watched with awe. But all were changed by what they had witnessed. As the class ended, the human gathered his small satchel. He glanced back at the beast one last time, a quiet smile on his face. The creature rumbled softly in acknowledgement, calm and obedient. The students left the room in quiet reflection. And the human knew that his journey in this alien academy had only just begun. There would be more challenges, more tests, and more lessons to teach. But for now, he had earned respect, shown true courage, and proven that sometimes the softest heart holds the greatest power.